20-some years ago.
So he just introduced you to her and then just shooting you about it.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Yeah. And she was just with me for like just 5-6 hours, and she was through with me by the end of the day because I was very verbal, rather aggressive, and I was yanking on the chain, on the ground, fighting her dress, and like pulling her off balance, and saying very, very provocative things. None of my delicate mouth.
Fuck up the couch.
It's like, mommy, I want the USFY.
So your work is obviously really provocative, and as long as I've known
This
you,
is, yeah.
always push the boundaries of good taste, gender, etc. And I just wonder if it's becoming more difficult now to find the images that you can create that challenge people's ways of thinking, because they've expanded so much.
To be honest with you,
Not that we've won all of our battles, but
I know.
there aren't that many naughty things to do anymore.
There are so
there's
many
so-
more naughty things to do. No, Princess Anne, I'm not kidding you. I tell you the truth, I am not kidding you. My mind has no boundaries. That's the fucking thing
I'm talking
the
about your
internet.
audience, though.
I know, but even if my audience was to literally see the images that I really wanted to create, it would be fucking terrifying.
No,
Did you say you were surprised when the weightlifter came in? Was that something you don't?
That surprised me because I was like, are they really ready for that? That kind of surprised me.
You know, when you think about it, these images are beautiful, beautifully crafted, beautifully constructed, but they're not that naughty anymore.
No,
They really aren't, not even to somebody
Right.
like the mayor.
and I didn't want them to be.
That's an indicator.
I was almost hesitant to do this particular show. I wanted to do more like a fine art show. And then Dr. Laura's like, no, do your men in lingerie. I saw that stuff and I really like it. And I was like, and she saw me kind of teeter-tottering. I was like, I really didn't want to almost do the show. I really didn't know how people would like be like, oh, you
It's
know.
not a criticism, and
No,
it
no.
doesn't devalue them at all. They're beautiful.
I know.
It has been amazing to watch people come into the gallery because they're just drawn to the images. The images themselves are beautiful. And then they look at the images and they're like, wow, I really like this one and I really like that one. And then whoever's in the gallery will basically say, yeah, you know, it's so wonderful to give the male form,
Exactly.
proper voice and appreciate the male form, because it's always the female form that's usually objectified,
True.
and not the male. And so many people are like, these are men?
Exactly.
They just can't even believe that
this
they're
is
looking
disgusting.
It's like, yeah, and it's like you see it go on in their head. I would say half the people really resonate with the work, and then the other half are it's like they've been caught. It's really interesting. Yeah.
But I've been explaining to people that it is men up there. I've had a lot of people say, that can't be men. They look so comfortable. They're posing so gracefully. That can't. Men don't look like that in lingerie. Men don't wear it. I'm going to be very surprised.
I'm just saying that for those
Who do you
of us
think invented it?
like Carlo and myself who are trying to push the boundary of what makes people uncomfortable in terms
Visual
of
interpretation.
imagery, especially for that show that you're creating, 12 Inches of Sin. How much farther do we have to go to make it shocking or make it
Or make it not,
conversation worthy?
or make it not shocking.
But kind of the opposite of what you're saying is the subtlety, because they thought those were women. It's just like a little bit of shift. It's like what you're saying. They're in the same. It's like the first piece I bought from you, Kuan Yang. Kuan Yang is the same soul as Buddha. It's the male and female form of the same heart, the same humanity.
So that's only a subtle shift. The hair goes back and the chest is a little bit, but calmer, and even more forgiving.
It's kind of shocking when they realize that it's
Yeah.
not a person.
But it's the subtlety, not the,
Exactly.
yeah. It's the subtlety that's so shocking.
Even with 12 Inches, though, what I hope that the show actually portrays is not the explicit, but the complete opposite. It's the suggested. It's the taking it outside of the box and really forcing people, you know, to look at what's erotic in a whole different way, you know, and just, you know.
It's like somebody said, well, erotic to me is creating architecture, shooting photos, and
Mhm.
things. That's all.
Yeah.
Yeah, just a whole other way of
And sometimes your best weapon is another person's imagination.
Pretty
But I have heard many people say it's very
Yeah.
refreshing to come in and see this type of work and this type of, you know, approach to good work, you know. It is refreshing. Yes, many people are, I like to watch their expressions, because I always let them stand there and look at it, and I go, yeah, it's interesting that they're men, huh? So I always let them take it in for a while.
But it's nice to know that there's actually you have your own comfort zones. Because you come across as someone that is just so comfortable and relaxed, and you know, the way that you present yourself in the world is pretty up there for a
Zen.
lot of people, and at the same time very zen. But just to hear that this was a little, you know, like I had to push you a little bit to show this work. So.
I'm traditional really in my value system, the way I live my life. I don't live my life like the most normal, you know, person of my particular choices, you know, and I think it's you know, it's separate, you know, even though I create stuff like this, or any artist creates, or any artist sings, or it may not be exactly, you know, it may not be always so connected to who they are that it becomes like their all encompassing thing, you know, like a sculptor who like creates beautiful images of like beautiful sculptures of gorgeous women, like totally in a provocative state. He might not even be a horny guy. He might be, you know, erectile dysfunctional, you know. You know what I mean? It's not always who we, you know, just because I shoot this doesn't mean that that's exactly who I am. You know, I see things, you know, in an interesting way. I think men have, a lot of the men that I shot, a lot of these men, really, was I shooting them for them? Was I shooting them because that's the way they saw themselves? Was I shooting because I saw them that way? Or was it just happening? Did we just let go? Did we just have fun? Could we literally let go and just let it happen? And that's what kind of happened, is that as I shot the people that I shot, they just fell into it. All of a sudden, you take this guy who's a sharpshooter for like the Army or something, Navy, or a Green Beret guy, and you put him in a piece of lingerie, and all of a sudden, he just transformed. He just melted into a moment, and I was like, stay right there. This is perfect, you know. And a couple of these guys are,
Which
you know,
one?
our Army Air Force.
Which one is the sharpshooter?
Oh gosh.
Go ahead,
Right
pick
there.
one. In the
with
in
the
the
wig?
wig? Oh Lord. Nice.
He's one of the sharpshooters.
Looking at that, it looks like he's having a really good
Oh,
time.
yeah.
With himself, not
Yeah,
taking
blast.
himself too seriously.
That's like the new naughty, if you will, is that
Because they
that's
can-
the sharpshooter, but this guy on the end here, the most, I identify that as the most masculine. Could be the most gay,